Hi, my name is Jake Greenspan. I'm the director of the Floortime Center. I'm also Dr. Stanley Greenspan's son. I want to answer a few questions about the new mastery test for the professional course on stanleygreenspan.com. The big question is coming in the form of why are we changing from using terms like mastered, partially mastered, or mastered with constrictions to analyze the videos? The main reason is number one, you can't partially master something. Even though this is language my father liked to use, especially in many of his vignettes about children and case studies, in the lectures, the case studies actually is more applicable because these are full cases that you're looking at. These are children you have a lot of more information about, and you're getting to learn whether they have mastered or not mastered a certain capacity. In the test, however, we don't have all that information. And these are short videos. These are 30 seconds to a minute, sometimes a little bit longer, where we're trying to use our information that we're just being given from the video to understand if a child is showing a certain capacity. So the intent of the mastery test is actually different slightly than what we're trying to analyze and learn from in the actual course itself. So in the mastery test, we're looking at more of a quantitative versus a qualitative analysis of the capacity. So for example, if we're looking at the first milestone, which is regulation, we're looking at is a child calm and focused and organized with their bodies and with their emotional systems, and what is evidencing, and what evidence do we have of that, and how well are they doing that? And if they're not doing that, are they distracted? Are they passive and withdrawn? Are they melting down or revving up? And those would be signs that they're not regulated. And so then we can look at, in the duration of the video, how much of the time they're regulated and how much of the time they're not. And we can then apply this 4-point scale. The same is true for something like engagement, falling in love with the world. Is the child really connecting emotionally? Are they really interested in the person, not just the activity? Is there nice warmth and eye contact and even facial gesturing that can be symptomatic of that engagement? And each of those indicators would allow us to tell the child is engaged. Again, if we're looking at it from a quantitative standpoint, we're looking at how much of the time during the video are they. But if you're looking at the qualitative analysis, it's so subjective that unfortunately there is a lot of disagreement as to if the child is engaged or not sometimes, because people unfortunately have different measurements as to each of those components. So we found it more effective to change it from a qualitative to a quantitative analysis for testing purposes, not just for the information, but for testing purposes. For another example is looking at two-way communication. Is the child responding to something the parent is doing, or are they initiating something with the caregiver? And are they being purposeful with their behavior and intentional? Those are three of the criteria for that third milestone, two-way communication. Are they doing that the majority of the video clip, only some of the time, a little bit of the time, or none of the time? So you can see how this quantitative analysis is different than a qualitative analysis. And we need to make sure that we are taking the information we're given during the lectures and understanding it to the point where we can apply it qualitatively. And that's the whole point of this test. And let's go to the fourth milestone. The fourth milestone is shared social problem solving and continuous flow. It's in this milestone we start to see children not just be purposeful with their behavior, but do something in a social manner to accomplish one of their goals. It could be as simple as reaching for something and taking it from the caregiver. That is still a sign of social problem solving because they are doing something in a social way and they're solving a problem, getting the object they want. Now, it's also important to know there's very simple social problem solving that might be 1, 2, or 3, or 5 steps, and then there's 10, 15, 20-step social solutions. And that's when we get into more complex social problem solving and even the continuous flow. But you'll notice, again, when we're not getting into the qualitative analysis, because it would be too much to look at each of these videos and try and figure out, is each of these pieces happening and to what quality is it happening? Let's just say, are we seeing some of this and how much of the time are we seeing it? Same thing with the fifth milestone, which is symbolic and meaningful use of ideas. So this means, is the child being creative? Are they generating their own ideas? Are they potentially using language? Are they doing symbolic play? These, again, are some of the criteria for that fifth milestone we look at. And if you see a child who is generating an idea in the play, then it's there. Right? It's not just the child is reacting to the environment or seeking out stimulus or just grabbing toys and putting them down, but are they really creating something? Are they putting the man in the car? Well, that's creative symbolic play at a very simple level, but nonetheless it's there. So it wouldn't be none of the time, it would at least be a little bit of the time. So you can see how these quantitative analyses are now being used to understand the videos that we're picking for the mastery test. And what we'd really like people to do in this mastery test is show a mastery of the information. We know it's a little harder. It's intended to be a little harder because ideally, if people do very well on it, we're hoping this will turn into part of a much stronger certification course. One of the big challenges has been is there's a lot of people out there saying they're doing floor time or DIR for that matter, and they really don't have a full grasp of these milestones, of my father's model, and especially of his application of floor time. We are attempting to remedy that, and we hope that this test is the beginning of that. And if you do have additional questions, please reach out. Please check out our YouTube channel at Greenspan Floor Time at YouTube. There's tons of free content there, and we would hope that you would supplement the 11-hour course with any additional information you can find online created by us. Eventually, we will be adding more and more information that will hopefully allow you to do even better on these different tests. Thank you.